A hurdle facing all of the digital teams in the 1970s was the struggle to improve the specifications of analog to digital converters beyond 14-bit to the consensus minimal standard of 16-bit. Griffiths had tried in 1976 to build his own 16-bit, but failed. But fortunately, in 1977, Burr Brown came to the rescue, releasing onto the market their own groundbreaking 16-bit analog to digital converter module. Decca managed to get a hold of a few of these, and this removed the biggest roadblock and was a significant reason why Decca managed to then make a lot of progress in 1978. All I was able to find out about the digital audio converter used by Decca was an article by Studio Sounds in 1979 about the New Year's Day concert. They reported that Decca used commercially available products both for analog to digital and digital to analog. The final component of the recording chain was the signal processing unit. It was the biggest build of the first half of 1978 because it had to be designed and built from the ground upwards. The very basic looking metal box with some LED lights sat right in the middle of the recording chain. It processed data passing through it from the analog to digital converter to the recording head of the 800 series, while at the same time also processing data from the playhead of the 800 going through towards the DAC. Gino's website gives a really detailed, comprehensive account of all of the functions of this amazing bit of kit. But I'm going to just focus in on two of the core unique functions. One way to look at the front of the metal box is that it's a bit like the dashboard on a car, showing some information about performance, but also when needed to show up some warning functions too. As far as performance, the Decca team developed a digital peak program meter which measured the level of digital input. This enabled the recording engineer to fine-tune that digital level to the perfect sweet spot, which enabled the actual level to be as high as possible to get the maximum dynamic range, but not overdoing it and leading to the really unpleasant severe digital distortion that can occur. This meter was a bit like a digital version of the analog VU meter, and Roy Hankinson, a member of the team who eventually took over from Griffiths in the 90s, he did mention that some of their rival teams didn't use an equivalent digital meter and just relied on an analog VU meter instead, and that this significantly led to unnecessarily low levels impacting on the dynamic range of their recordings. He did, however, refuse to say which particular teams he was talking about. Back to the dashboard. Now, all of us have had that unpleasant but necessary experience of the red light coming on the dashboard telling you you've got to go and get to the garage and get your car checked out as soon as possible. And there's something very similar with the signal processing unit. Decca built this warning system because although the risk of sudden digital equipment failure is relatively low, when it did happen, the impact could be quite catastrophic. And although Decca did have the ability to listen live to the music being recorded, it gave no warning whatsoever of when there were any problems developing. Now, inside the signal processing unit, there was a really good protective error correction system. and this had been devised by the team's mathematician called Bill Pitts. And the system was able to display and nearly always correct nearly all errors picked up in the data. The unit, however, could also count and live display the amount of error correction that was occurring. It used green and red LED lights, and it gave basically a visual live reading of the current health of the digital system. So if the engineer started to notice that the front of the signal processing unit was starting to look like a Christmas tree, he would know that something was not right. So after that take was finished, it was very important to investigate and possibly do some maintenance before doing any further takes.